Hello friends, today we will discuss about an important current affairs, that is International Year of Millets, and this 2023 is declared as an International Year of Millets by the United Nations. And in the year 2021 March, United Nations has announced the year 2023 as the International Year of Millets. And once you declare a year as the millets year, definitely in this year the countries must promote the production and awareness of the millets. Now India has already declared in the year 2018 as the National Year of Millets, and India has taken up that initiative to the level of United Nations and requested the United Nations to adopt the International Year of Millets, and it got support of more than 70 countries. As a result, the United Nations declared the 2023 as the International Year of Millets. So what are the objectives? Suppose if they declare it as International Year of Millet, then what we need to do? So broadly there are three major objectives are there. First one is to elevate the awareness of contribution of millets to the food security. So you must elevate the awareness of the millets contribution to the food security. To what extent millets can contribute to the food security, and how your food security will be achieved by using the millets. Second one is inspire the stakeholders on improving the sustainable production and quality of millets. So we need to inspire the stakeholder to improve the sustainable production and as well as the improving the quality of the millets. Third one is draw focus on enhanced investments in research and development. So three major objectives. First one is related to the creating the awareness of the contribution of millets to the food security. Second one is inspire the stakeholders in improving the production, sustainable production, and as well as the maintaining the quality of seeds. And third one is investment in research and development. So these three things the countries must promote in the year 2023. And unfortunately the millets are unutilized and unrecognized, not unutilized. Unfortunately the millets are underutilized and unrecognized seeds, because in the history we use these millets, but once our lifestyle got changed, we have not started recognizing it. It's an unrecognized, and we are utilizing it, but only to some extent we are utilizing, so it is an underutilized seeds. Now we must increase the awareness about these seeds. Now what are the millets? So millet is not a particular grain. Millet is not a particular grain, but it is a collective word. Millets are collective group of small seeded annual grass that are grown as a grain crop. That means there are three characteristics. One is they are small seeded, they are grass, and they are grain crop. So, and the another important advantage of this millets is they are primarily grown on marginal land in dry areas of temperature subtropical and tropical. So dry region, tropical and subtropical, and marginal land. That means you no need that much amount of fertile land. So this is what millets. So millets are grown in a marginal land in dry region or dry areas of temperature and tropical and subtropical region. It is a small seeded annual grass of a grain crop. So collectively you call these things as the millets. And what are the different type of millets? There are different type of millets are there, like ragi, bajra, jowar, and there are other names are also there. Ragi you call it as finger millet. When it comes to the bajra, you call it as pearl millet. And when it comes to the jowar, you call it as sorghum. And apart from these things, you are having the foxtail millet, you are having little millet, you are having kodo millet. Like that, variety of millets are there in our country. Now I am looking into the historical perspective of these millets. Historical aspects. All the earliest civilizations in the world are aware about these millets, because some evidences are showing like all the earlier civilizations were used these millets. And in India if you see, the millets are among the first crops to be domesticated in India, and with several evidences we can tell like even in Indus Valley civilization we consumed millets. And it is not only Indus Valley civilization, after that it is in Vedas, it is in Brahmanas, there was a mention about these millets. And even in Sangam literature also, during the Sangam era also, there was some reference to these millets. That means throughout the history, and it is not only in the sacred books, there are other literary writings throughout the history have made a mention about these millets. That means throughout the history we have used these millets, and millets are part of culture, agriculture and civilization. It is not just a food item, it is not just a grain, it is part of our culture, agriculture and civilization. It was used as both food and fodder. It has used both food and fodder. Now, what are the climatic conditions required for the growth of millets? The climatic conditions. I mentioned this climate conditions in general when I am giving the definition of the millet, but now I will be specifical. So you are aware it is on both tropical and subtropical, that means close to the equator, that means the temperature is very high. So even the temperature is high, it can grow, it can withstand that temperature. Second one, an altitude of up to 2100 meter, an altitude of up to 2100 meter, that means it grows in both plain area and as well as hilly area, and especially it grown in rain fed area where there is no much rain. And it is a heat loving plant, that means some are, let it be your wheat, it is a very sensitive to the wheat, but it is a heat loving plant. Even if there is an excess temperature, nothing will happen to it. And the mean temperature is something between 26 to some 30 degrees centigrade. So, this is the mean temperature that is required, and it can grow in warm arid areas, warm arid, and the rainfall requirement is something in between 45 to 100 centimeters of rainfall is required. So, these are some of the climatic conditions required for the cultivation or growth of millets. Majorly in India, if you see, the majority of the agriculture is a rain fed or a monsoon based agriculture, because majority part of our agricultural land is not having a full fledged irrigation facilities, so they are depending on monsoon. That is why we are growing millets as a kharif crop in India. We are growing it as a kharif crop in India. That does not mean that you can't grow it in Rabi, but some of the crops in some parts of the country are grows in Rabi also, but majorly it is a kharif crop. Now, we are looking into the level of production of the millets in India, and what was our production in the 1950 or prior to the Green Revolution, and what was our production in the post Green Revolution period. Why I am choosing this Green Revolution as the benchmark, that I will explain in the upcoming debate. The production, I am taking the year something like 1950 to 55, and I am taking the present period. Here I am writing it as year, here I am writing it as area under cultivation, here I am writing it as production, and this is productivity. Okay. During the 1950-55 phase, the area that was grown with millets is 350 lakh hectare, 350 lakh hectare. Now it is reduced to 138 lakh hectare. When it comes to the production of the millets, it was 150 lakh tons, or you can call it as 15 million tons annual production. Now it is 173 lakh tons or 17.3 million tons. The productivity, if you take during the 1950s, it was 400 kg per hectare, but now it has become 1100 kg per hectare. If you see the area and the production and the productivity, the area is now reduced by almost 56%. The area reduced by almost 56%. When it comes to the productivity, productivity is reduced by some 22.8%, some more than 20%. And if you are looking into the production, production increased. So area reduced, productivity increased, as a result the production to some extent it is increased. But one thing you must understand, we are talking about 1950-55 and the production is 150 lakh tons. If you compare it with the total grain production of 1950, the share of millets in the total food basket was around 20%. Now, as the total production of the food grains increased in India, that is why the share has now reduced to almost 5 to 6%. So, the share of millets has gradually reducing in our total food basket. And it is not we alone. Across the world, more than 130 countries are growing, but gradually the shift is moving from this millets to some cereals. But still a substantial amount of population is depending on these millets. Suppose if you take the Asia and Africa, in both the continents, more than 50 crore people are still considering the millets are their traditional food. And another important thing is, when it comes to this 173 lakh tons of production, in Asia, I think more than 80% of the millet production is happening in India, and when it comes to the whole world, I think around 20% of the production it is happening in the 20% of the world production is happening in India. So these are some of the statistical information related to the millet production. So at the global level 20%, Asia level 80%, still some people are around more than 50 crore people in Asia and Africa are considering it as a traditional food, and this is the area, production, productivity and increase and decrease and their share of their share in the total food basket. And when it comes to the major millets, we are not growing all the millets, but the major millets are bajra, jowar, ragi. These are the major things. That means both in terms of area and both in terms of the quantity, these three things contribute more. And the majority and the important states that they are cultivating these millets are Rajasthan, because you are all aware about the climate of Rajasthan, that is why they are going for it. Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, like these are some of the states that they are going for this millet cultivation. Now, I will just give you the reason for decline of millets. Reason for decline of millets. Because if you looking into the area wise, it has reduced from 350 lakh hectares to 138 lakh hectares. Anyway, because of our new innovative practices and technological interference, we are able to increase our productivity, but production is almost same. Okay, there is a little bit increase, but still it's almost at the same level. What are the reasons for the declining of millet production in India? One of the important thing is this green revolution. Because in the decade of 1960s, we have introduced this concept of green revolution. Under this green revolution, we have started more high yield variety seeds, and we promoted it in the wheat initially and later with the rice, and we have started a very intensive agricultural practice. That means usage of more water, usage of more fertilizers, and over a period of time usage of more pesticides, and it has become a capital intensive agriculture also. But that has given good results. The productivity increased, the production levels increased, and India has achieved a self-sufficiency in the food grain production. India started reducing depending on foreign countries for its food imports. It has given lot of benefits. As a result, the income level of farmers who are using this green revolution practices has also increasing. That's why people gradually started shifting from the millet production to, let it be, cereals production like rice, wheat and maize. That is how, if you observe, after 1970 you can see a gradual declining in both production and as well as the area wise of the millets. Okay, fine, it has reduced. Then again, why we are talking about these millets today? Why we are talking about these millets is because there is a necessity now. Why? Because green revolution has its own negative impacts. Millets have their own advantages which cannot be provided by the cereals. The government also promoted the cereals, even today they are promoting through their procurement, through their announcement of minimum support price. But now we have reached to a stage where the green revolution has its own negative impacts and there are some advantages of these millets. So as a result, we wanted to move again to the millets. So what are the negative impacts of the green revolution which force us to go for the millet production? The negative impacts. There are many things are there. First one, the crops which we are promoting with these high yield variety seeds which have started with green revolution like rice and wheat, they are actually intensive irrigation is required. That means the agricultural practice that we are following is intensive irrigation agricultural system. That means you need to provide lot of water, more irrigation facilities are required. If there is a deficiency in water, it cannot grow. More chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Though India is promoting organic farming, but still the fertilizer and pesticides, this is having lot of problem. It increases the cost of production, it pollutes the environment, it affects the biodiversity, and the fertilizer and pesticides remains are there in the food crop, that is impact the health. Lot of problems are there. Next, the soil nutrient imbalance. That means now your soil is not in balance. Because of overuse of fertilizers and pesticides, some nutrients are in excess, some nutrients are in deficit. As a result, your land is not giving a substantial amount of yield. We have started practicing this concept called monoculture. Same crop growing again and again and again and again. It takes away the health of the soil. If you grow same crop again and again and again. Next, the nutritional content in the food reducing. The nutritional content. And another important is pollution. Anyway, I have mentioned it under this, but again I am writing. Both soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution, and even some of the crops like paddy, they are resulting in greenhouse gas emissions. The water pollution leads to eutrophication. So these are some of the problems, or these are the negative effects of green revolution. Now as a result, it has become very difficult for the farmers. The input cost is increasing day by day. And another important event that you must understand, climate change. Now the whole world is affecting with this climate change, and agriculture is not the sole reason, but agriculture has its own share in climate change. Now in these changing climatic conditions, can we really afford to go for an intensive irrigation? Can we really afford to release much more greenhouse gases? And recently concluded biodiversity summit COP15, they said like, no, the subsidies on fertilizer and pesticides must be reduced because it is removing the biodiversity. So in the coming decades, Is it really possible for us to go for these type of agricultural practices? And lot of agricultural scientists saying no, you cannot afford these things. This might have saved you when you are in crisis. Now you are out of crisis. Now you must go for a climate smart agricultural practices which will balance both the culture and your dietary habits. That is why the immediate next option is millets. And lot of people are saying the millets will save you. Why millets? What are the advantages that the millets are having over these grains? I will tell you. The advantages. Again I am writing the advantages in two different, I am dividing it into two. First one is when it comes to its production. What are the advantages that we are having? I already told you it requires less water. Even in rain-fed areas, even in arid and subtropical regions, it can grow. So less water is required. Next, no much use, sometimes no fertilizer and pesticides. Even if you want to use, less amount is required, but majority of the time traditionally in India, by using some organic fertilizers only farmers are growing. So less fertilizers and pesticides. No much pest attack. No much pest attack. The cost of the production is low and the production cycle is also low. That's why the production cycle is also low. That means you can get the crop from, let it be, 70 to 100 days. And the cost of production is also low. And even our small marginal farmers can grow because they are having less amount of land, they are having less amount of irrigation facilities, mostly they are rain fed, and they are having limited amount of capital. So the small and marginal farmers also can go for this crop. And more heat resistance, because this is one of the problem that we are facing during the climate change. Suddenly there are heat waves, suddenly there is an increasing of temperature, and some crops are temperature sensitive. So suddenly they start reducing their yield, but it is heat resistance, is beneficial for small and marginal farmers. Cost of production is low, production cycle is also low, no much pest attack, no much use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and less water. So these are the advantages of the millets when it comes to the cropping. Apart from this, the millets are also having its own health benefits, because nowadays as the lifestyle changes, the new non-communicable diseases are seriously impacting the whole population across the world. And because of our homogeneous dietary habits, the diabetic, blood pressure, some liver diseases, some heart related diseases are increasing. Now these millets are having the perfect suitability to reduce the impact of those diseases, like it is having lot of nutritions, proteins, fiber content, and also it is having lot of minerals. Okay, and these are very, very helpful for the human body. And apart from that, it is gluten free crops. Gluten free means gluten is a protein that is found in some of the grains, which will act as a binder and also which will add the stretchy quality, and that is little bit difficult to digest. And second one is the glycemic index is low for this. Glycemic index is low. So glycemic index is actually low. So glycemic index is a unit. It will take like how fast your the sugar levels in the blood increases after taking the food. Now low glycemic food means it never allows you to increase your the sugar levels of your blood after taking this. So these are the another advantages of the proteins. These are the advantages of the millets. So these are the advantages on the cultivation side, these are the advantages on the health side. As a result, now you can tell like this is a perfect combination. That means if you go the millets, it will have both the climate advantage and it will have the advantage over the health. That is why we need to promote more and more millets. And it is not a new thing that we need to adopt. It was part of our culture, it is part of our heritage, it is part of our civilization, it is part of our agriculture, but some abnormality came over a period of time. Now we need to correct it because the existing system is having its own problems. Now we need to go for a new type of cultural practices, that is climate friendly, that will give a balanced diet and also that will help your small and marginal farmers, that is millet farming. That is why India is trying to focus on millets. That is why India persuaded United Nations to declare a particular year as the International Year of Millets. Okay, so we understand the importance of the millets, but now we need to promote the millet and you must create the awareness about the millet. And according to Dr. Swaminathan, there are 4 C's are there. So with these 4 C's we can promote the millet, the 4C concept. What are the 4 C's? First one is conservation, second one is cultivation, third one is consumption, fourth one is commerce. So these 4 C's are the important things to promote the millets. Conservation, yes, you need to conserve the millets, and millets are very very important. And who are the traditional conservators of this millet? And it is the tribal people and it is the rural people. They are the conservers of this millet. Now we need to recognize them, we need to identify them, we need to award them, we need to promote them, and we need to do modern techniques to conserve the variety of millet seeds in our country and declare some of the millets as a national heritage. That is how you can save it. Next, cultivation. Yes, cultivation must be promoted. Definitely the policy intervention by the government of India is very very important, and policy intervention and coming up with some high variety yields or biofortified seeds, either through the natural selection or through the genetic modification, because genetic modification again is something in debate, but anyhow at least through the natural process we need to bring some peculiar characteristics so that they will give high yield and so that it will be remunerative for the farmers. And also usage of the Krishi Vijnana Kendras. So like this we need to cultivate. But consumption, see, cultivation is possible only when there is a consumption and commerce. As long as there is no demand for the product, people normally don't go for it. So then what we need to do is we need to improve the consumption. Then how you will improve the consumption? Yes, consumption will be improved by educating, by sensitizing the population. You need to clearly explain what are the health benefits of millets, and you need to create that awareness, you need to give that education, and what are the challenges with the existing farming system. So that we need to do, and apart from that we need to do some activity on the culinary activities, because our culinary activities must be changed, our dining table must have a diversity, then only we can protect our health. And another important thing is, there is another way through which you can increase the consumption, because Government of India is giving the food securities through the National Food Security Mission. So under National Food Security Mission, maybe to supply it to the people in the country, and also the lactating mothers and pregnant women, and also to the children through the midday meal scheme, we need to promote these millets. So that is one way you can increase the consumption. So this awareness, and especially in the urban middle class people, you have to create this awareness. Okay. Next one is commerce. This is another important thing is, so as long as the farmers feel like it is remunerative, they don't go for it. So we need to make the millet cultivation as a remunerative thing for the farmers. Then how we will make it more remunerative? Yes, we must create a proper marketing mechanism. Like what are the market reforms required in agricultural marketing, the same reforms are required here. Bringing a national level market, remove all the restrictions, and promote the startups, promote the agro processing units, because agro processing is very, very important. Okay, you can convert it into any food product. And now today government is announcing MSP for only 3 major millets, that is jowar, ragi, bajra, and the government should also increase the MSP provided only if it is purchased. That means if they are not purchasing, there is no use of MSP. So the government should also purchase wherever it is possible. Okay, and apart from that, it must liberalize the market, it must start promoting the startups, and it is also promoting the food processing sector or agro processing sector. They are very, very important. So this 4C approach is important to promote the millets. Now what are the initiatives taken by the Government of India to promote? Earlier, did Government of India taken up any initiative? Yes. There are various initiatives taken up by the Government of India before we declare it as an International Year of Millets. That is, in the year 2018, I told you we have declared a National Year of Millet. 2018 is the National Year of Millet in India. And there is another mission called National Food Security Mission to enhance the production of the food grains in India, and under that there is a sub mission on these millets. So that means we are focusing on increasing the millet production under the National Food Security Mission. And government declares millets as the nutri cereals, in the year 2018. That means these are the highly nutritious food grains. By keeping their nutritional value in mind, we have declared it as the nutri cereals in the year 2018. And the millets are included in this Poshan Abhiyan mission, the Poshan Mission Abhiyan of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So this mission is aimed at increasing the nutritional content in the people with a specific target group to reduce the malnutrition in the country, especially in women and children. So we have added this millets into this Poshan mission. That means we can supply the millets to reduce the malnutrition in the country. This initiative we have already started, and we have promoted 200 startups. So those who are doing some innovative thing in the millet production, in millet processing, in millet trading, in millet commerce. So 200 startups, they are supported by some millet research institute in Hyderabad. That is another initiative. Next one is around 67 value added technologies. That means you need to add the technology, and that technology will bring you value addition. That value addition will increase the life of this millets, and also that will promote more usage of the millets. So 67 value added technologies are developed. at the centers of excellence, because we have created some centers of excellence to promote the millets. Now if you go and see it in the market, especially in urban area, anywhere rural area it is their tradition and some people are following it, but in urban area you can find out a variety of items made up of with these millets. You can find it in supermarkets, because some dietary habits are changing because of the increasing non-communicable diseases. And another important thing is, we did some research also, around some 13 hybrid high variety yields are already released into the market, because you cannot afford to have a low yielding seeds, perhaps that won't give that won't attract the farmers. So definitely we need to change some characteristics and we need to enhance the productivity, so that will attract the farmers to cultivate it. And these are some of the initiatives that the government of India has already taken for the promotion of millets. Now under this International Year of Millet, what India is going to do under this International Year of Millet? Okay, now United Nations recognized it. Now the Ministry of Agriculture is a nodal ministry to promote this program. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare is the nodal ministry, and this ministry will take up this activity in a proactive way with multi-stakeholder approach. So both proactive and multi-stakeholder. So who are these multi-stakeholders? The multi-stakeholders are many. It will be like ministries at the union level. So union ministries, state and UT, that means state governments are union territories, embassies, okay, the embassies that are present in foreign countries, Indian embassies, and apart from the farmers, startups, exporters and traders, some scientists and academia, and some of the informal groups. So they are all the stakeholders. So with these stakeholders, we wanted to create an awareness about the millets and also give the advantages of the millets. This is what we are going to do. And in this specifically, these three are having some specific role. So what is that specific role in this? There is a concept called focused month. So we will declare all the months as the focused months. Every month they will give some responsibility to some ministries, some states and some embassies. So they need to celebrate that focus month. So under this focus month, what they have to do, the different ministries or states or embassies, so they have to increase the awareness about the millets to both consumers, to both cultivators, and also how it is benefit to the climate. So that is what we need to do, consumers, cultivators and climate. So this is an action that we need to do. So this is a major program that we have taken up, and throughout the year we will take, and on the eve of this, and our Prime Minister has arranged a millet lunch for the members of Parliament also. And even Government of India announced, like during the G20 summits, we will have this millet, the lunch or the food items made up of millets will be served to the whole world, and so that we will create awareness. And if really increases the millet production, definitely we can export also. And if you do properly the value addition, definitely it will enhance the income of the farmers also. So these are the advantages that we are having, and this is the program that we are taking up to promote this International Year of Millet. So according to our Prime Minister, now there is a need to diversify our agricultural land and also our dining table, and you must take it up as a people's movement, and also we must position India as the global hub for millets, and this will help both the farmers, consumers and as well as the climate. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.